Hi everyone, good to have you all here. I have something very funny to share with you all. Just at midday, my internet connection totally went kaput. Zero connection at all. Called up the service provider, couldn't figure out what's wrong with it. Seems like a hardware issue. So I am streaming, well, I am theatered through my phone connection, and I'm streaming through my phone connection. So if the connection goes crazy, goes wonky, do bear with me. Facing some ridiculous internet connection. I mean, at this time in the modern century, having internet connection problems is unheard of, right? Hey BL, how you doing? Hey Mad Maniac, good to see you here. Hey Angel Case, good to have you. Hey Gen B, or Star there. Good to have you all here. Again, if you're new to the session, or if you're just attending the session right now, you're online, watching, drop a message, say hi. Hey Kelvin. So like I was saying, if this is laggy, if it gets jittery, I am having internet connection issues. I am connected through my phone right now. So maybe I will try and keep this short and sharp. But you know me, once I start talking, I just go on and on and on and I forget about the internet connection problems. All right. We had a massive, massive surprise from Fed Chair Powell last night. So I want to get into that. Hey AL, how are you doing? So as usual, we are streaming on TradingView and also on YouTube. So I can see that there are quite a number of you here on TradingView and also on YouTube. Please do me that huge favor, drop a message and say hi, like what Chinon has just done and Ali FX Pips has done. Hey Albert, how are you doing? All right, and we'll give it one more minute before we get started. Do click that like button, click that subscribe button, click that follow, and that little rocket ship as we get started. Crazy euro, crazy gold, crazy everything moves, crazy everything. I wasn't able to do my market analysis write ups this today. Like I was telling the early attendees that I had incredibly bad internet here. So I will be updating those new lines, new levels later today. Crazy Powell too. Just one line. He just said one line, and it just drove markets mad. So that was impressive yet incredible. I seem to be using the word incredible a lot today. Hey Asia, Gar, Richard. Alrighty, so let's get started. I don't know how long this phone tethering will work for. I have been told by my friends that hey, maybe 4G, 5G might be better than the internet connection. So let's see how that holds up. Okay, so as I was saying earlier before, welcome. Thank you for attending the daily market analysis. We'll be going through the fundamentals, the technicals, and the trade setups. Um, Especially for today, we have new big new levels that we're looking at, and we're possibly going to make things a little bit difficult. Okay, it's going to make things a little bit difficult um, to try and predict and try and analyze, just because you are reaching new highs and new lows as well. Okay, so again, thank you all for attending. If you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I love to find out. And if you're a regular, thank you for being a regular. I appreciate the views and the attendance. What I'm also looking for you guys for is, some feedback, comments, during the session, and also when I post up analysis on TradingView, do jump on, add a comment. Right, let me know if you did, or if you are looking at a similar setup, or if you're looking at a possibly counter trend setup. Put it into the comments. Let me know. I want to see what your views are. Right. So why I want to see what your views are, it's also because by knowing what your views or how you look towards the market, and I do remember a lot of you here, you're all regulars. I look towards actually tweaking the approach, or trying to tweak your approach to try and possibly help you trade better, guide you towards better trading, better profits, more consistency. All right. Hey Binod, how you doing? Hey Milan B1202 from Serbia, good to have you here. And Prathamesh, good to have you here as well. All right, so let's get started. Before that, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained in this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. You all know the drill. Learn before you earn. And also your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances, right? Don't enter all the trades. Don't, try and maximize on all the trade ideas, because that's going to lead to over leverage, possibly taking on too much risk, and it's going to mess with your trading psychology. All right, so just watch that, and also remember that the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. So please do your own due diligence, DYODD. Okay. Hey, Elblon from Australia. Good to have. Which part of Australia are you in? I used to be from Perth. And yeah, I used to be from Perth, so I'm super glad to see someone from Australia here. I lived half my life in Perth. Looking forward, maybe I'll head back. We'll never know. All right. One more thing I was going to say is, in reference to trading psychology, do remember that, as much as we talk about trade setups, as much as we talk about fundamentals and technicals and where to buy or where to sell, end of the day, trading strategy, entry, exits, what you do during the session or what you do during the trade, it all comes down to trading psychology. Okay, all comes down to trading psychology. So what I'll tell you as well is that I'm on my final draft. I've been working on this for a super long time. Not all the time, but I've been working on this for a super long time. Is a trading psychology book, a book on trading psychology. I've seen, books about fundamentals, books about technical analysis, this indicator, this strategy, that strategy. All that fine, good, but there's not enough information, not enough material about trading psychology. So if you are interested in getting an early draft of my trading psychology book, put it in the comments and let me know. Why I'm offering this early draft is also, I just want to, I'm going to offer it to a limited number of people only. I haven't decided how many as a limit, but I will see how many of you respond. I do want some feedback. I want some comments about the book, just so that I can finish off the draft, finalize it, and then add in your comments and feedback. So you get an early draft, and then after that we can possibly publish it properly. Okay. So if you want the book, an early draft of the book, do put it into the chat on TradingView or on YouTube. Let me know. You could, if you're missing out, if you're not watching this as we're streaming live, you could also drop me a message on TradingView just to let me know that, hey, you're interested in getting a copy of the draft, and you would be happy to provide comments and feedback on the draft. I'll be happy to reach out or send it out to you guys as well. All right. So that's a little bit of a give and take. I'll give you a draft, read through it. I hope it helps. And then what I ask for is feedback and comments. Okay. Don't take it, read it, or take it and not read it. That'd be worse. Or take it and read it and then not give me any feedback or comments. Okay. Good, good, good. I see a couple of you have replied already. I am taking, I do have the chat saved, so I will take note of that. So let's get started. What happened last night? All right, what happened last night? It threw all my analysis. What's happening here? All of it. All right. It threw all my analysis out the window that we did during the 3 p.m. session yesterday, because at 11 p.m., right, prices were moving reasonably. We saw some dollar strength after we ended the session. But what happened at 11 p.m., Fed Chair Powell testified. He spoke. Okay. And at 11 p.m., even before he spoke, he released a statement. Right? He always releases a statement before the conference, before the session. And the main headline, not headline, the main line that everyone zoomed in on, was this one line where it says the Fed is prepared to speed up rate rises or rate hikes if warranted by data or data. Just that one line. Just that one line where he indicated, hey, we could speed up rate increases if warranted by data. And what happened to the dollar? Look at that. This is on the H1 time frame at 11 p.m. straight away. It went from that 104.65 level straight up towards, within the hour, hit our resistance level of 105.35. Through the night, it continued up to hit a high of 105. Almost 105.85. Okay, so let's put in that level there. 105.85. I'll take this away just so that we don't have too many lines. And we have that resistance there. Okay, now this is now become a support level. That's definitely a support level as well. All right. Good morning, M Leader. Good to have you here. Hi, Wilco. Thanks for that. I will be sharing that, okay? So we saw that big push. Unfortunately, it didn't fall as much as we had expected. I thought that it would break 104 before the session and then the big spike up. What happened? I think we did mention that the big spike up could see it test at 105 level, right? Breached 105, went a lot higher. No one, I can almost guarantee you, no one would have expected that Fed Chair Powell would say that the Feds were ready to speed up or go bigger in terms of rate increases if the data warranted. So that was a big surprise, and that's why we saw a big move to the upside. Okay, so that was what happened, and you can see this translated right across the board to everything else, to all the currency pairs. So this was totally thrown off. Okay, so now we're on the 8th of March. But before we get too excited, do watch out, right? What's happening today? Okay, tonight, we had Gavlo from the RBA speak, didn't do too much. We have some euro numbers not doing too crazy. At 6 p.m., we do have the ECB President Lagarde speaking at the International Women's Day hosted by the World Trade Organization, WTO. I don't think this is going to be I don't think President Lagarde is going to go on at the WTO International Women's Day event and say, hey, we're going to increase rates. I don't think that's going to be a likely scenario. So I think this will be a bit of a non-event. But it all comes down to from 9 o'clock onwards. All right, all comes down from 9 o'clock onwards. US ADP non-farm employment change. I remember BL did leave a comment in one of my posts where he asked, hey, we're paying attention to the non-farm payrolls on Friday. What about the ADP employment change, right? What about the ADP happening on Wednesday? what I've done a lot is previously, when I was relatively new to trading, I was looking at the ADP thinking, wait, ADP comes out a day or two before the non-farm payroll. ADP is a private number, it's a privately calculated number, it's not a government's number. So I was thinking, would there be a good relationship, correlation between the ADP non-farm and the non-farm payrolls on Friday? So you see ADP non-farm here, and then on Friday we have the non-farm payrolls or non-farm employment change number from the US stats. What I found, I have put in, ADP non-farm payroll, I've put in non-farm payroll itself, and then ran the numbers down, ran correlation analysis, including different variables like seasons and other variables like economic factors and all of that. And correlation is close to zero, right? No inverse correlation, no positive correlation. It's pretty much a random. So I would be extra careful in trying to use this ADP non-farm employment change number as an indicator towards what we could expect for the non-farm payrolls on Friday. Okay, and because of that, this might have some impact on the dollar. Might have some impact on the dollar if we see big surprises such as this ones, right? If we see big changes such as, it was 505, expected 400, comes at 800. If we see those big surprises, then we're going to see a more sustained influence on the dollar index. However, for example, this one coming up at 9:15 GMT plus 8 today was 106K, expected 197. Unless we get that 400, 500 number, I don't think is going to move prices too much, especially given that the dollar has moved so much already last night. But the main focus is the Bank of Canada's interest rate decision was 4.5%, expected to stay at 4.5%. I think if they do hold it at 4.5%, we're going to look towards the rate statement. All right, you have to look towards the rate statement. It will take a while to load because I am on my phone internet. I think the last one was on the 25th, which is this one. Right, so most recently they increased from 4.25 to 4.5 last month. What this is last month's statement. What we're to pay attention to for this month is the line where it says this one. The bank's ongoing tightening is complementing the restrictive stance if this expects to hold rate at its current level while it assesses the impact of the cumulative interest rate increase. All right. They have, as usual, most central banks will say prepared to increase further if required. But now we're looking for this line if, especially for tonight, if they're going to say the same thing, right? If they do say the same thing, like we're expecting to continue holding rates, then we might see some strength on the Canadian dollar. We might see some strength on the Canadian dollar. Why I say that is because if we zoom back to the 25th of Jan, where is the 25th? Here we are. Okay, on the 25th of Jan, they increased rates and we saw that push towards the upside. They increased rates and we saw that push towards the upside. Why? As they increased rates, we saw that that was, and you can see it was trending down. It found a good support level and it pushed towards the upside. In fact, this is happening at 11 o'clock, so it's right at that same candle there. All right, traded lower, tested support level, and then 11 pushed towards the upside, hit that resistance level and turned back down. Okay, so anticipating that they're going to hold rates, we might see the strength on the Canadian dollar come back into play. And that would fit very nicely because the Canadian dollar is at a massive high right now. I keep laughing when I'm looking at all the levels because it went up as high as overnight that 1.3773 level, right? 1.3770 level. Let's zoom out. Let's go to the H4 time frame and see if there's a correlation level there. Okay, the higher point will be at 1.38, right? 1.38. So it's not that far off. It's not that far off. And the last time it hit 1.38 was in November 2022. We saw a big drop towards the downside. Above that was in October, where again it hit that level, and then we saw a big drop. Okay, so with that, back to the H1 time frame. Good morning, Jamil. How are you doing? All right, so with that, you look at this. If we see the dollar or we see the Canadian dollar weaken, it will hit that, it will come slightly higher, hit that 1.38 level. The last time we saw that, it hit and it had a big retrace. Right now at that 1.3773 level, I'm looking for it possibly to retrace back down or to correct lower again. With that said, do also remember that at the same time that this is being released, we do have Fed Chair Powell testifying again, right? Fed Chair Powell testifying again. This time, no statement, right? This time, no statement because he's already released a statement last round. It's going to be more questions and answers. Typically, not so much when Fed Chair Powell was, well, not when Powell was chair, but when Yellen and Ben Bernanke were all chair of the Fed, when they did have this 2-day events, the first day we would see a big move either to the upside or to the downside. And then the second day, surprisingly, we always see that big retrace. Right? I'm not going to say that we're expecting the big retrace, but that big retrace would play into all that current situations. Okay, the current setups right now. So I'm keeping it a bit flexible. US CAD, we are possibly looking at this maybe in the lead up to the session tonight. We might see this test at 108 level, right? We might see it test the 108 level, but on the release at 11 o'clock, I'm looking for a possible push to the downside, right? From 108, possible push to the downside. This, again, massive counter trend move, right? Overnight or since yesterday, we saw it at 1.36. Today, we're talking about it hitting 1.38, 200 pip move to the upside. We're looking for that counter trend move downwards. So just be extra careful with this approach, but also why you know me, I'm more of a trend following trader. But if it does go up to that 1.38, say today 11, I'll move this a bit just to be a bit more accurate. Okay, if it does hit that 1.38 level, you could actually have an opportunity where you would have a very tight stop loss, about 20 pips, especially if it reacts to that 1.38 level. And your take profit, I wouldn't put to that level. It is a resistance, an interim resistance level now, but I would say that you've got a big potential to the downside, right? A big potential. You see that big gap there, right? So I do think that it'll retrace back down, possibly to that 1.37 level, at the most to that 1.3670 level. Okay. So in terms of the US CAD, so I've always got US CAD as the last one, and I say no trade. Switching it up a little bit, we're looking at a possible reversal at 1.38 to 1.38. Okay, the trade setup is there already. Okay, any questions on the US CAD and also in terms of the Bank of Canada's interest rates decision, the setup to the Bank of Canada interest rate decision? Anyone? Hey, George, US 30. Okay, I'll get to that. Jamil with US Swiss franc. I'll get to that too. Okay, good. No questions so far. So that's the US CAD out of the way. Just considering the possibility that if they hold rates at that 4.5%, then we could see a big retrace back down, especially pay attention to the statement that it says, or the Bank of Canada says, they're going to hold rates to wait for or to see the impact of the cumulative interest rate hikes recently. Any backtesting on the CAD rates? I haven't done the backtesting on the CAD rates because what happens with CAD rates, they haven't done a lot in terms of rates decision, and it's always been a little bit more influenced by the dollar as well, right? So CAD rates a little bit mixed in terms of not backtesting, but through my experience and watching the trades when I'm trading the news, is that it does have a little bit more of a variable influence because of that dollar. Okay, maybe I probably will try and do a back test on that as well. Okay, like what I did for the Aussie. So good question there, Enris. All right, so with that done on the US CAD, I forgot I'm going to do the dollar index as well. It's got up to hit that 105.87 level, looking like a possible retrace, a brief retracement to the downside. Right, let me just move this aside for now. Okay, with that big upward move, let's see where there are any key levels. It could come down towards 105.35 again, between that 23.6 and that 38.2 level. We could see a retrace, right? The way it's moving, we could see a retrace back down to the most recent support level. To the upside, if I went to the H4 time frame, it's broken above, I would say, let me just have a look. Here, nope. Happy Thanksgiving. I mean, we've got a big upward move here at 107. I'll be super surprised if it gets to 107, but after last night, nothing should really surprise us. Yeah, I would say 107 would be a big key level. Obviously, 106.50 with a round number there. Okay, but we're looking at the way it's moving. I do think that we are primed for some retracement back down towards that 105.35 level. Ablon, I will get to gold shortly. Okay, so $8 possible retracement down to 105.35. Sounds a bit ambitious, but with the way that the price is moving or the technical setups are running, it seems like that would be the most possible scenario. If it does break above 105.80 or 105.90, then 106.50 will be an interim level, with 107 as a big key resistance level. Okay. Good. All right, cool. Again, a quick reminder for everyone, if you are watching, do me the big favor, click that like, click that rocket ship button. It will help somehow. All right, so let's look at the US Swiss franc. I'm doing it in reverse today. All right, in reverse today. Look at that. I hope, did any of you get into this? Remember when I was talking about this yesterday, we're all talking about dollar weakness. We could see this break lower. Then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, what if we see that dollar strength, right? So we had that straddle there. We saw it break out of that downward trend line, would have a nice trade to the upside towards that 0.9345 level. Of course, it went all the way up and tested that resistance of 0.9428. Okay. Again, you can see here resistance level formed, right? Resistance level formed over the last 3 times. Now the 4th time, right? Now the 4th time. So with that same thing, right? Technical, if you're purely based on technical, it looks like it's hit a resistance. It failed to trade significantly higher. We will see it retrace back down, right? So I'm going to give you that 2 scenarios just because we're again super uncertain about what could happen in terms of Fed chair power tonight. So if we do see that retrace on the dollar index towards the downside, we could see this trade back down. Okay, I don't like this line here. So we could see it retrace back down. Let me take this away. How do I remove this? Go away. Okay, let's just take that away for now. Okay, so that one's done. We see this push towards upside, fib levels. 61.8% is right at this key support level at 0.9346 or 0.9350. Could look at that similar move towards the downside. So if we do see that dollar weakness come into play, a retracement on the dollar, all right, then what we could see is the US Swiss franc trading back down, say possibly from that. Actually, let me just do this again. All right, so 23.6. I would just be extra safe and say that look for it to break below, because you can see when it shot up, it tested this level. Look for it to break below 23.6. You could be looking for selling opportunities below that. Stop loss relatively big at about 30 pips. Take profit at about 51 is to almost 1:2 risk reward ratio to the downside. Right? This is a super safe move if we see this drop from that 0.9428, 0.94. If it breaks below 0.94, if it breaks below 0.94, I would say be extra safe here. You could go for 1:1 towards the downside, almost a 1:1 towards the downside. So you see that this is not the best or super safe, because a super safe is not the best setup. If it does trade up, then where's my next level? To the upside would be, well, we know we have a big level here at 9548. I would say that we do have another level about 9480, just in the middle there. Okay, so that's my resistance levels. Coming back to the H1 time frame, with the way it's moving, I would be, it could be a scenario where you don't have that much trades today. Right? I'll preempt everyone. You don't always have to, and this is a reminder to myself when I do these sessions. I don't want to always be saying like, get into this possible setup, that possible setups. It could be a day where we just sit there and go, right, prices are moving a lot, but it doesn't look like it's tradable. Okay, so I'm looking for this to trade down. If it does push up, you could do a trend following trade, but I think it's quite near. I'm looking for that retracement back down. I entered pound Aussie short at 1.94, looking for 1.78, rejected it. Okay, I'll get to pound Aussie as well. All right. So looking at this to push down, US Swiss franc sell below 0.94. the next support level. All right, good. Euro dollar. I'm so disappointed it did not break that 1.07 level, so that's taken away. But we did have a trade to the downside. If we did a similar one that we talked about on Thursday last week, where we saw that move down, would have been a great profit to the downside. I did get into this trade on the euro dollar before the news, right? I did have a pending sell at this point. I did have a pending buy at that point. Obviously, pending buy was cancelled off, but pending sell did drop. I did get out exactly at this line of 1.05. I think I got out at 1.0590. Yeah, so it just went down, hit the level, and I'm out. I missed out on that move to the downside from 1.0590 down to that 1.0535 level. Right? So you can't maximize on the trade, or I don't maximize on the trade just because you never know. You never know what's maximum anyway. So with that euro dollar now at that 1.0535 level, forming that support, looking like it could push back up, right? Looking like it could push back up. Again, I would urge some caution, because what's happening is that we're looking at everything saying, oh, it looks like it's going to retrace, could see that big retrace to the upside. What if the dollar continues to strengthen? Then we do have a support level here at 1.0482. Okay, so just be a bit more careful here on the euro dollar. Two ways of looking at this is that will euro dollar rebound back to 1.07 in the near term? I think 1.07 could happen. We're not saying that it won't happen, because the last time it was at this level in Feb, right, end of Feb, 24th and 27th. 27th onwards, it started pushing up, and very quickly from the 27th of Feb, by the 1st of March, it was almost testing 1.07 again. So I would say that possible idea on the euro dollar is if it goes above that point, right? So I'm looking right across, and I would say 1.0558 or 1.0560, you could be looking to buy it back up. Big move. Big move up, but I would move this hesitation level back to about 1.061. Well, 1.06 is a round number. Okay, 1.06 is a round number. I'll take all these away for that move up. All right, so you're looking at a 77 pip move to the upside, or 40 pip move to the upside on the euro dollar if this retracement continues and gains strength. Stop loss would be about 30, 40 pips. You're looking at a 1:2 risk reward ratio to the upside. Alternatively, in a more trend following scenario, is that you look for it to retrace and then turn back down. Right, retrace and then turn back down and break this 1.0535 support to trade down. Right, so you'll be looking at below this point here at 1.05, below 1.0525. Stop loss very tight this time at about 20 pips. Take profit at about 40 pips. Again, a 1:2 risk reward ratio to the downside here on the euro dollar. So again, upside potential, big move, 80 pips possible. Downside potential, 40 pips with a tighter stop loss. Remain extra flexible on the euro dollar. Okay. Any questions on the euro, the Swiss franc, or the US CAD so far? Both upside and downside potential. I'm more tempted to look for it to looking at the way the dollar is moving, I'm possibly more tempted towards looking for buying above 1.0560. Okay, euro dollar, both upside and downside potential, buying above 1.0560. Alrighty, no worries, BL. Okay, good. Now let's look at pound dollar. Look at that big, massive drop. Our buy trade did not get triggered, so that was good. Take that away. Massive drop to the downside, resisted that level, now becomes a resistance level. In fact, I'll change this one as a resistance area and take that away. All right, I look at it as an area. We saw it drop massively, breaking that 1.1920 level down past 1.1849 or 1.1850, and then now trading at 1.1827. So at this point, contrary to everything else, I wouldn't be looking for a retracement or to buy a retracement up. I'll be looking, could we see further downside on the pound dollar? All right, so all these are all become resistance levels. These have all become resistance levels. Okay, looking at the on H4 time frame, where's the next lower support will be at about this point here at 1.1779. I would actually prefer this one at 1.1765. Okay, so now back to the H1. What I'm looking for here is a consolidation, a brief retracement. I'm possibly looking for this to test and then reject back down. Right? So this will be the scenario where we go, okay, we talked about possible dollar weakness, retracement. We know what to do on a retracement. This will be the clear cut. Even if we retrace, I'm not going to trade this up, but I will be, if there's strength, I will be looking to sell this down, looking for that retrace up and then sell down from that 1.1850. So 1.1840, stop loss quite tight at about 20, 25 pips. Take profit at about 60, 70 pips to the downside. Almost a 1:3 risk reward ratio. So you can see here that when it reacts to, why I sit there waiting for it to react to a level, when it reacts to a level, I do get that opportunity to have a relatively tighter stop loss, right? A tighter stop loss for it to trade back down. Let's say it doesn't retrace, it consolidates along this level. Then if you consider that you want to sell down from this point, tight stop loss at about 20 pips, take profit at about 40. I'll make this super narrow just so that we can see. Right, that could be a possibility as well, just because it's ranging. So you would have a stop loss just above the range, just slightly above the range. Take profit just at the same support level, a 1:2 risk reward ratio to the downside as well. Okay, but obviously I would prefer this setup instead. Any questions on the pound dollar? So pound dollar, where is it? Okay, selling retrace to test resistance, sell on rejection below, what was it? Below 1.1840. Below 1.1840. Okay. Good. All right. So that's the pound dollar done. And it does look like why I put this scenario in there is because it looks like that could be a possibility. It doesn't retrace. We see it turn straight down. Okay. Then US yen. So I do note I answered Jamil on his US Swiss franc. I know George asked about the US 30. I know M Leader asked about pound Aussie, and also, is that it? Did I miss anyone else out? Did I miss you out? If I missed anyone, please let me know. Thank you, Milan B. You're most welcome. Okay, US yen, right? So I remember someone asked me about this yesterday. Go, wait, Jin, can you tell us about the Bank of Japan interest rate decision on policy decision on Friday? I said, hang on, we're not going to do that yet, just because a lot of things could happen on the yen in the lead up to that event. And look what happened. We saw it consolidate, track a little bit lower before smashing to the upside, breaking that resistance of almost 1.137, now forming a good support level, came up to that 138 level or area, and then now looking like a rejection. Okay, I would not be, because of the yen news or the Bank of Japan news on Friday, just be extra careful here. This will be a nice trade. What's it going to do? Okay, this will be a nice trade if this happens. Okay, you can see 38.2 forming at that point. I would say if it retraces, I wouldn't be looking to sell the yen, right? We would have too many possible trade ideas if we see that dollar weakness come into play. So I wouldn't try and gamble on it on the yen. I would say, if it does break below that 23.6, comes towards that 38.2, then I would say, great. Is it going to come down to this point, test, and then bounce back up? Right? Is it going to come down to the support level, test that support level, and bounce back up? Eblon, I haven't done gold yet, so I will get to gold as well. Okay. So I'm looking for yen following that trend to the upside all the way to Friday morning. All right, Friday morning. So looking for this move on the yen, looking for it to test that 1.37 or 137, not 1.37, 137 support level as a rebound, say 137.20, take profit at about 138, stop loss about 30-40 pips, a 1:2 risk reward ratio to the upside, right? So you have to sit there, wait. This is what I call trend following. Sit there, wait for it to come down, test, reject, then look to buy. All right, so US yen buying if price bounces off support level at 137, 137. Okay, I got too many words there. At 137. There we go. Clean that up a bit. Good stuff. Alrighty. So that's the view on the yen. I'll do Aussie, Kiwi, and then we'll look at the request from you guys. Okay. Aussie, look at that. Didn't bounce back up, didn't trade higher. Take that away. Broke significantly to the downside. I'll tell you that last night, Aussie was one of the pairs. I had my euro dollar running, that trade running, and I was scalping the Aussie to the downside just because it broke that level. Right, once it broke that level, I left the office. I had a trade running. I put in a trade. And I said, okay, I will look at this later. I had about I think I left the office at 6. I can't remember the price now. I'm trying not to load too many things because of the internet issue. I had it at about below 0.69. Yeah, so I left about at 6 o'clock, about there, I think, if not wrong. I had a 30 pip stop loss. Yeah, so I left at about 6. I had a 30 pip stop loss and I had a quick 30 pip take profit as well. Right, a 1:1. I got out just before the news, so didn't hit my take profit. I got out just before the news, and then after that, because I was thinking that downward momentum, we could look to sell down. I was a bit surprised that it dropped, but I was scalping this all the way down. Even when I went to sleep last night, I entered a sell just to let it run. When shot down, closed out just before my session at 11, and then now it's rebounding back up. So I'm super happy on the Aussie. Made me good money both on a intraday and on a scalping trade. But what's interesting now is that I'm possibly not going to be getting into too many trades on the Aussie just because it's tested that big drop and then now it's rebounding back up. It's rebounding back up. I'm not tempted to buy it back up. Doesn't look like it's going to form good strength to see a big upside potential. So I'll be extra careful there on the Aussie. Right? When would it be a good time to buy the Aussie back up? Yeah, big move on. I made a good trades on gold as well last night. This was on my forex fund, my forex fund phase 2 challenge. So I made a lot of profit on that. I'm super happy. Almost, not yet, but almost at passing phase 2. Okay, so look at that on the Aussie, right? Big push to the downside, looking for it to rebound. Too many levels. The only time I will start thinking that we might see more sustained move to the upside for the Aussie is if price breaks above this 38.2 and that support, well, previously support level, now resistance level at 0.6630. All right. So looking at that, not going to do anything, no trade on the Aussie until it breaks above that point. Then we might start thinking that we're going to see a more sustained retracement back up. Okay, so why I had to do the Aussie first before I jump to the view on the pound Aussie. Well, we need to see the different setups. No trade. I'm waiting for more sustained retracement. Then to the Kiwi dollar, again, that trade didn't trigger. So take that away, big retrace or big correction to the downside. Most recently at that 0.6085 as a support level. Now retracing back up. Same as the Aussie, that big move down. We've already gone past all the news for the Aussie interest rate decision. We saw that drop after the interest rates. Now with the Kiwi dollar, the next thing to pay attention to on the Kiwi is into next week, if I'm not wrong. Was there an interest rate decision on the Kiwi coming up? I think we just had an interest rate decision on the Kiwi. So no big stimulus or no big push for the Kiwi dollar to push up. So I'll be extra careful unless we see that big sustained weakness in the dollar, then we're going to see this push up. So same thing, only looking to buy it up if it breaks above this 0.6130 level. Even then, I think that we might think of Aussie, we might think of Kiwi as more possible trade setups. All right, so I'm just tuning my mind to remember that we do this every day. So just for today, I would say no trade on the Aussie or the Kiwi dollar. All right, we do have the yen looking for buying opportunities. That's on the dollar strength. Pound retrace to test resistance and sell on rejection. That's again on the dollar strength. Euro dollar both upside and downside potential, buying above 0.1560. That's the dollar weakness coming to play. US Swiss franc sell below 0.94. Again, dollar weakness. So we have scenarios or possible trade setups if we see dollar strength on the yen and the pound. We have possible trade setups on the euro and the Swiss franc if we see that dollar weakness. With that, sure thing, start there. Gen B. Okay, with that, then we do have the US CAD with the interest rate decision from the Bank of Canada, possible reversal. That's also looking for that dollar weakness to come into play. Covering both scenarios with different trade ideas. So now let's look at gold. Boom, big shoot down, scalping. I was scalping this all the way down. I did tell you guys that I would not be looking to sell gold, but because of that big push on the dollar to the upside, big sustained drop on gold to the downside, it was straightforward. It was very straightforward to sell it down. During the news, I was scalping it all the way down towards that support level of 1807. Okay, all the way down towards 1807. I think I did easily. I think I did about 5 or less than 10, probably most likely less than 10 trades, but I was scalping gold all the way down. I'm not going to run through my scalping trades just because it was just like rebound, sell, drop, close, rebound, sell, drop, close, right, on a 1 minute time frame. So again, same thing here, finding that good support level. I'll take this away because it's invalid now. Finding that support area there could rebound back up, right? Could rebound back up, but just be extra careful with that possible rebound. Would need massive dollar weakness for this to sustain a rebound to the upside. Right, so we do have a bit of a hurdle here as an interim resistance at the 1820 level. Right, the 1820 level, you can see that happening there. I know it's order block or something like that. So we could see that as being a level that we could see price trade towards, and we might see a big break to the upside. Okay, so gold. Question on gold was, where do I see it going? I am looking for a retracement back up, but I do note that big push to the downside. So looking for it to come towards 1820. If it breaks above, possibly going to sustain a move back towards 1830. Rejection, then we could turn back down. So gold, be extra. I would say be extra. All right. At 1820 price level. Okay. Hope answer your question there, Eblon, and also Jamil. Right. So with that, now let's look at the requests. First off was from George about the US 30. Again, guys, if you haven't already, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button. Thank you. Okay, look at that. US 30 inverse relationship with the dollar. Dollar strengthened, US 30 or the indexes right across the board dropped massively to the downside, consolidating at that 32,800 or just below that 32,900 level. The way I look at this, and it's, as much as I would like to think about how price could continue moving in that same direction with the way the comments coming from the Feds, technical aspects looking at it, it does show that resistance, right, or the hesitation to drop further through the whole of Asia session today, and then also through the afternoon as well. So it's giving a bit of a hint that we might see a retracement. But I do like to, and that's why I said, we might end up with no trades through today, because I do like a little bit of a fundamental driver behind why we could see that retracement, not just a technical view. All right. So consolidating at this level, I would say that could it drop down to that 32,540 level? Maybe, but that would be a massive hit to the market. So I think might see a bit of a hesitation there. We do have that level here at 32,820, finding that support. Looks like if we do see a retracement, then you could see it trade back up to about that 33,100 resistance level, which coincides with that 38.2 fib level as well. Okay, so I think I would be looking for a breakout of the consolidation to the upside on the US 30. Okay, I hope I answered your question there, George. Now on to a pound Aussie. If I miss anyone on their request, do let me know. So M leader got in at 1.794, about 0.794, about there. And then you're looking for 1.7874, about there. It's moving. I would say that if you did get in there, right? If you got in there, your take profit at this point, I would say it would be wise to put stop loss down to break even, let it run at risk free. The only thing I would say is maybe take profit could come down to 1.7852 or about a 1.7850 level. Okay, a bit of a hesitation here at about just below or just at that 1.79 level. All right, just at that 1.79 level, might hesitate, but it's a great trade, M leader, fantastic. So I think that we could see this. Oops. Right, so I think this is a good trade down. Only thing I'll do is move my take profit a little bit lower. At this point, possibly push stop loss down to break even, so it's risk-free trade. Also, that we saw this now having just broken over the last 2 hours or the previous hour before, just broke that upward trend line. That's also why I think that we could see a little bit more of a move to the downside. Nice update on the stop loss. No worries. Good. All right, so move that down to break even, and then we could see this trade down, especially given that we were anticipating for the pound dollar to trade lower. That weakness could drive the pound Aussie down, and also being a bit flat or not expecting much from the Aussie could see, or some upward move on the Aussie could see this push up. Okay, so pound Aussie done. Good. And pound yen for Lydia NYC. Lydia NYC. Where's my pound yen? There we go. Pound yen broke out overnight, broke that consolidation. I was looking at this, but I had too many pairs to look at already yesterday. So it did break that level, retraced strongly back up because of the yen. With the way it's moving, pound weakness, we could see this push down towards that 161.50 level. But I would say be careful hesitation level at that previous low overnight, we could see this trade down. So, pound, expecting that pound weakness, we should see this push lower. We should see it trade down to that 162 level and possibly 161. Just be careful. I think that there will be the weakness on the US yen could offset a lot of that potential move or consistent move to the downside, right? So why we saw the pound Aussie or the pound yen bounce that strongly back up is really, pound dollar didn't move too much, but was the US yen that, continued today pushing to the upside. So we're going to see a bit of a conflict. Yen pushing up. If yen continues pushing up, pound pushing down, then the pound yen is going to still trade lower, possibly going to still trade lower, but it's going to have a bit of a, start stop kind of momentum. All right. So I hope I answered all your questions there, and it looks like my internet held up, my phone internet held up quite well. So again, any questions, please drop me a DM, PM, DM. Let me know how I can help you. I'll be happy to do that. And if you're watching us on YouTube, jump onto my TradingView account. You can reach out to me there. Read the post. I haven't done any post today apart from some analysis or general analysis on the cryptocurrencies. Right after I've done that, then my internet died. So I will be doing some updates on the other currency pairs as well. Okay, so what you should do, or what I hope that you do, is read it, leave a comment. I like a couple of comments where they're sharing about their views and updates, that kind of thing. Let's have a chat. Let's share ideas in the post, in the relevant post. Okay. So with that, help me out. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And remember, Chair Powell testifying tonight, and also the Bank of Canada with their interest rate decision tonight as well. Do check back tomorrow, 3 p.m. I hope my internet is fixed by then. I will be doing this again, 3 p.m. tomorrow. If I get the chance, I'll also be doing the fundamentals, educational segment on fundamentals, because that was a request from yesterday. So for now, trade well, trade safe, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.